Time for an ad. Time to pay the bills. Jacob, it is one of the best places and only places that you can go to support local Texas State athletes, your favorite athletes. It's Elite Sports. They have good NIL deals with some of your athletes that you support every Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday in some cases. So go support them. Jacob, what are some of the athletes that they have over there for us?
Well, they just signed Malik Hornsby, so stay tuned for that. But you go to elitesports.com, they have a whole collection of Texas State athletes you can get behind. That's Ben McClain. That's Michael Budin. That's Austin Smith, Xavier Pettis, Mason Harrell. The list goes on and on, honestly. They just recently signed, as I was saying before, Malik Hornsby. So get ready for all those gear drops. It's just an exclusive look. It's a way to give back to the Texas State community, give back to the student athletes directly. EliteSports.com, use code SQUARE at checkout.
Tired of winning the tailgate but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squaring Around with Jacob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
And just like that, Zimmel, the basically entire baseball season is done, minus the conference tournament, NCAA tournament, and everything else in between. Regional.
Minus our trip to Omaha, dude. Shut your dirty mouth. The season's not over yet.
Well, it's like a big game of shoots and ladders, or like the game of life. You know, when you draw a card.
This is where my regular season doesn't really matter. It's all about the tournament time. This is the part of the season that we call the Andrew Zimmel season. This is the I don't care about the regular season banner. Coastal, you can keep that regular season banner. I care about winning the tournament at the end of the year, and then the super regional, and then, of course, getting a trip to Omaha. We need to go get some steaks, boys. Let's go.
When Coastal won the College World Series, did they win a regular season title along with that?
They were not in the Sun Belt when they won the World Series in 2017, so I cannot tell you exactly. I don't know what conference. I forget what conference they were in.
That's crazy.
They joined the conference the year after they won the World Series. So the first time Texas State played them, it was, I want to say, of the 20, 30 guys that were on that roster, I want to say it was more than like 75% of the roster had come back for the next season. So the team that Texas State, I think, beat once. I think they lost twice in 2017 to Coastal in the regular season. They pretty much beat the World Series champions one of 3 times. So it was a good series.
Not bad.
Yeah, I brought my parents to that game. It was a fun time.
I do not regret tailgating any of the baseball games. Super fun.
Yes. The problem is we didn't do the weather right. We always did like the early games, and it was cold and wet. And we should have been doing the later games when it was warm and sunny.
Yeah. The more you know. Now distance makes the heart grow fonder, you know? Now all I want to do is go back to San Marcos and whatever.
Yeah, that's what we call a wash-up.
So what are you feeling? Are you scared? Are you nervous? Are you anxious about tomorrow night?
Hell yeah, brother. I'm very anxious, very nervous. And, we'll get into the interview with Chase here in a moment. But, he isn't scared or nervous, so that should put me at ease, put my mind at ease.
He's very superstitious, though, like most baseball guys. I think baseball guys are probably the most superstitious group. What do you think? Baseball players or bowlers more superstitious?
Baseball, because there's more of them, but bowlers are freaking weird. Every bowler I've ever seen looks like he would work in IT.
Who do you think you are? I am.
What's going on over there? It's like this guy should be like, making sure I get high-speed internet, and he's bowling a really good game. All right, cool. Maybe they do both. I would hate to be a professional bowler and have that be like my part-time job. It's like, yeah, I got to go back to work IT for whatever, Smith and Motors or whatever. And, now I have to, also bowl a really good game. I'm worried about like making sure the connectivity issues aren't like a problem, but also how do I get that 7-10 split,
I get you. No.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a bowling brand to go into that, but whatever. I'll just tease up this interview. So we wanted to talk to someone super special, obviously, for this baseball team. Thought about getting pitching coach, thought about getting Steve Trout again. But we thought, what about the freshman? The guy putting up all the numbers this year, 16 home runs. What else? But Chase Mora. Here's the interview. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Square Talks. This is a show where we talk about everything Texas State. We are pleased to be joined by the freshman sensation himself, Chase Mora of Texas State baseball. Chase, you were telling me that you guys had traveled, I guess, yesterday. Got to practice a little bit today. Just got back from what was it, lunch, right? Uh,
Yes.
and now y'all just getting ready, amped up, ready for tomorrow's game
Yes,
against
sir.
University of Louisiana at Lafayette, which is still the university name, even though they want to go by Louisiana for some reason.
Jacob just keeps dead naming this university. It's a tough look for Jacob. Not very PC.
Well, you know what? When we were called Southwest Texas State University, everybody had to call us that. So until they make a change to their university charter, that is still their name.
Fair
What was
enough.
for lunch, Chase?
We went to walk-ons.
It's
Okay.
it's like a burger place, right?
Yeah, I ended up getting crawfish at Touffet.
Oh,
Oh, look at you. It's pretty good stuff.
Yes, sir.
I liked how the crawfish thing is now becoming like a staple of the spring game, like the football spring game. It didn't apply to you guys because you guys were out of town. I actually asked because they were having a big jersey sale. I was like, "Do you guys have any baseball stuff?" And they were like, "Nah, sorry, not this week." But they have every other team there. And I was like, "What's going on? No love for the baseball team? They go out for one weekend. God forbid
Yeah.
you guys still a jersey."
I was saying, Chase, he's angling here to try to get your jersey, bro. Watch out.
Well, tell us what it's been like, Chase, because obviously, you signed out of high school. You had a bunch of offers. I didn't know it, but I brought this up earlier just so I could read it off and be accurate. You had offers from Baylor, Houston, Incarnate Word, Kansas State, Rice, Sam Houston, Texas, Wichita State, and you turned them all down in favor of Steve Trout and the Bobcats. So I just wanted to know kind of like what that pitching process was like and ultimately why you chose Texas State.
Just like from the first time I came to San Marcos, I just fell in love with the place. And then I was never a guy that wanted to go to a big school. Never really cared that much about school. Kind of just wanted the smaller school vibe. And then the river was a plus. I mean, I love going to the river when we can. And then just Coach Trout and other coaches, I mean, they welcomed me into like it was their family. And then ever since I've been here, it's been nothing but a family. Everybody takes care of each other. If we ever need anything, the coaches are always there for us, no matter what it is. So, I mean, that really helped there. And then just staying closer to home so my family and grandparents can come watch me whenever they want.
Do they get to come to a lot of games?
Yes, they come to all the home games.
That's great. That's a really I always like that because I've talked to families, especially for soccer. It felt like when I was covering the soccer team, it was like their fans were pretty much their family at every single game. So I really do like that about Texas State. I think that they embrace that like family atmosphere.
Yes.
Well, for you personally too, I know you're into hunting and fishing, and you were an FFA in high school. George Strait was an agriculture alum at Texas State. You're an ESS major, but I feel like there's a lot of like outdoorsy things at Texas State. Is that probably a draw too? I would assume.
Yes, for sure. I mean, another thing is like my ranch is only 2.5 hours away from San Marcos, so it makes it easier for if my dad's going out there, I can just meet him out there and instead of being farther away from it. So I mean, that was another plus is being closer to the ranch.
Did you have a good fall hunting?
Yes, I did.
Got to give us some highlights. What happened?
Yeah.
So opening day was actually on my birthday. So I turned 19 on opening day, and I was lucky enough to kill an axis deer for my first axis buck. And then later in the season, I ended up shooting a aoudad, which is like a ram. And then later in the season, we went duck hunting when I got back home for Christmas break. And then another highlight was probably the sandhill crane hunt I went on with my buddies down in South Texas.
That's dope.
Cool. Anything for the walls?
Yes, the axis deer went on the wall.
All right, there you go. That's what I was curious about. So you were a pitcher in high school, and now you've kind of transitioned into just being a damn good hitter. Were you always this good of a hitter?
Not till my junior year. The bat didn't really show up till my junior year. And then actually when Coach Blake, when I committed to Texas State, I was just here committed as a pitcher. And then right before my senior year, they changed it to a two-way. And then my senior year, the bat really picked up. And then I ended up having to have surgery. So I hadn't been able to get on the mound since then.
So when you came to Texas State, was it to be a pitcher, or was it just like, hey, we love what this guy brings on all aspects of the field. We want this guy no matter what he does.
At first, it was just for pitching, and then they changed it to, all right, we want to see you do both ways.
Did that, like, I want to ask, because I was a pitcher in high school, clearly not as good as you, but like I remember caring a lot about my pitching and not giving a shit about batting cages. So were you the opposite? Were you like, hey, I got to be a pitcher that rakes?
Yeah, I barely, like, up till my senior year, I did no pitching lessons, nothing. Like, didn't really put the time into pitching, just was always a middle infield and a hitter.
This guy's just raw dogging pitching. Good for you, man.
I want to clarify too, Chase, because Zimmel said that he wasn't as good of a pitcher as you were. Obviously not. Like, what are you talking about? There's different worlds.
The constant disrespect. It's fine. It's fine. What was your go-to in high school, Chase?
What do you mean?
Your go-to pitch?
Fastball.
Of course. Okay. Got it.
And then best off speed was by far the changeup, and then the slider, and then the curveball.
Got you. We got to find some video of that and slip this in here, Jacob, of Chase pitching. Got to find that. Go through the Twitter files or something, Jake.
I'll find some freshman Chase tweets, like his huddle tape or whatever. I'll find something.
So middle infield, you have what type of surgery did you have on your arm? Was it Tommy John?
Yes, I had Tommy John.
And was that just from overuse, or was it a mechanical issue? What caused that?
Overuse and not taking care of my arm like I should have.
Got you. When you went to the doctor and they told you you're going to have surgery, were you scared?
Yes, I was.
Because you didn't know what the outcome was going to be?
Yeah, I just didn't know, like, if I was going to get back to how I was. I didn't know. It was before I got on campus, so obviously I was nervous about what Trout was going to say and all that. And then sure enough, they were completely fine with it. Just kind of just took it as like a minor setback and just still welcomed me in and went to work this fall. And luckily everything paid off.
Pitching in the rearview mirror now?
No, I'll be back in the fall to pitch.
Wow. Okay.
Dang. That's sick. Well, I was going to say, Chase, like you were describing your surgery stuff. At that point, like when you had told Trout and them, like, oh, hey, I got to get surgery for, whatever. Like, had you committed yet, or you'd signed yet, or what was that like?
Yeah, I was already signed at that point.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Got you, man. So that's a really big deal that, like, you're doing this much stuff at the plate, because normally what they want to do is get you as many bats as possible. But the fact that they're looking at you, do you think that that's like just 2023? I don't want to, you think about guys like Shohei Ohtani, but there's other guys in college baseball too that are kind of turning into that, where, hey, we might use you every fourth day on the hill, but we also want your bat in the lineup. Does you kind of feel that way in the lineup right now, or like going forward for you?
I mean, kind of, but not really. I mean, it'll kind of, like, the pitching side will just be more like come in the ninth and close it out, and then but still play second every day. So I mean, that's kind of what I always wanted to do, and like that's what made me stay at Texas State, was they wanted me to be more of an infielder than a pitcher, and all the other programs were looking at me just as a pitcher. So I mean, that was a big thing that they always preached to me, is that they were never going to take the bat out of my hand.
Got you. Cool. I mean, I think of pitchers as a little bit of a prima donna, and you don't feel that. Just talking to you right now, it doesn't feel like you're like that at all.
Nah.
He's just a baseball dude. Well, he also had, like, what was it? He had 4 putouts against Georgia State in the second game. He, like, literally put the Panthers away. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I got to see the first game for that. It was an entire series. It felt like kind of like a make or break moment. But you've had, like, just a crazy freshman year, and nobody really expects you to just, like, I think your first at bat was like a home run, right? So, like, it's like nobody really expects, like, baseball to just come that easy, because baseball is hard. You've been playing baseball your whole life, and it's still hard.
Yes.
So what is that like? Like, what does it feel like? What does it look like? Or
I mean, going back to, like, the first 3 at bats, like, that was something I'd never would have dreamed of doing, was hitting 3 home runs in my first 3 college ABs. And then after
Insane.
that, it kind of hit the roller coaster where I went down, and I think I was one for my next 12 ABs with one single, and then got to the North Dakota series and ended up in 4 home runs in one game. And then ever since then, it's kind of been just like a steady, just staying neutral. Something the coaches always preach on, just stay neutral with what you do. And sure enough, it's paid off.
Jakob texted me today and said my favorite thing about Chase is that he's a bison killer. And I was like, I didn't quite understand what he meant by that. And then he sent me the box scores and was like, I love that he's beating North Dakota State. Full disclosure, I live in North Dakota right now. So that's, I think, part of the reason why Jakob was so excited to, like, hey, look at this bison killer. Shout out to you, man. I mean, good on you.
It's funny. Well, especially when you think about the strength of schedule that the Sun Belt has, and then just like what Texas State's schedule has become too, is like, these games are coming fast and hard. So you got to take not only the wins that, you think you can win, but also just like being able to show up on the nights where it's like, oh man, we're going against like ranked teams all the time. I think you guys have like 5th ranked or 5 ranked wins at the moment this season, right? So,
Yes.
it's just tough to show up every single night, but y'all managed to do it. And you're gonna have to do it again against a really good Lafayette team.
Yes, we are.
So what was the Sunbelt? Like, did you guys, like, as a team kind of feel like, all right, we're hitting our stride right at the right time, especially this back end of this the season against ULM and stuff like that. It kind of felt like everything was clicking.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like we've shown at times over the season like what this team could be, and it's really just like we haven't hit that stride yet. I mean, we're still coming off the ULL series. We got swept and then got beat by TCU and then lost one to ULM. And then, I mean, the last game we finally showed up and played. So, I mean, hopefully we carry that into this week in the conference tournament. But, I mean, there's still so much this team has not proven yet that we need to prove before the season's over. So, I mean, I think this week could be a really big week for us.
I know there's been a lot of emphasis placed on defense as a whole. I know you guys were working on it leading up to the Georgia State series, and then like through that back half of the season too. Just working on the second base. Like, what have you seen? What have you, like strides in your own game or strides in the team as a whole?
I mean, yeah, I mean, the defensive part, I mean, we've been struggling here lately with defense, but I mean, it's still, I mean, you think about it, all of us, you're going to get hit with many different plays, but I mean, it's not about like if you mess one up, baseball's a weird game. It's always going to find you in the next one. So, I mean, just really don't let that carry on to the next one and just flush what you did in the past and move on and just keep grinding.
Game of averages, man. That's kind of the thing is, if you go 1 for 3, you're a Hall of Famer. If you just, you're doing okay. It's just, I don't know. Jakob has been very much, I would say more than me, very locked in to this baseball season. And I think this is his favorite sport at Texas State after this year. So I'm glad to kind of hear you say that the goal is a little bit, to go further, right? Especially coming off of the season that you guys had last year. Now, granted, you weren't here last year, but there's got to be a little bit of that, like, kind of hangover too, that like, hey, this is how far we went. That's where the bar is now for this program.
Yes, for sure.
Do you feel that way from some of the upperclassmen?
Yes, for sure. I mean, they hold us to a higher standard now that we've gotten to the regional, and I mean, now it's just expected. Like, it shouldn't be expected to win the conference or win the tournament. It's to go win that regional now. It's not to go further, go to the super, go to Omaha. I mean, that's our goals now. I mean, the bar is set high. We got to go reach it again.
Have there been any upperclassmen or like kind of leaders on this team that have kind of pulled you aside and like kind of helped you along?
Yeah, I mean, I would say Smitty has been a big part. I mean, he's my senior leader this year, and I mean, he's really helped me out with just showing me how to lead by example. And then Cam Bush on the other one, I mean, I call him Big Bro. He calls me Little Bro. So I mean, that's been pretty cool. And then they both just help me out with anything. And they're those guys that I could always rely on if I ever needed anything.
Cool. Do you golf, Chase?
No, I do not.
That's a shame. That's a shame because I got some golf takes I need to get off my chest, but that's fine. We'll move on.
Where was that going to go?
I was going to ask him how his golf swing was because, I still stand by my, if you're good at baseball, you're going to be fine in golf. Jacob disagrees. He doesn't buy into that at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, one of our better hitters, brother Gonzalez, I mean, his golf swing's not the best. He's not the best at golf, and he's really good at hitting a baseball.
I hate to hear that because I love Jose Gonzalez so much, but that works for my argument perfectly because I have this going thing that says that I could outdrive Andrew. I love golf, love playing golf anytime I can. Zimmel hasn't picked up a club since, who knows, putt-putt, and he thinks that he can outdrive me. I don't think so.
I'm like 6 inches taller, too. That's the other thing. It's like we're working with a lot of different advantages for me.
I'm big man, hit little ball very far. No,
yeah,
it'll work.
I think it does. I think I'll be fine. I just gotta get the back limbered up a little bit, take a couple practice cuts, and I'll be fine.
I hit a ball at Topgolf. It was at Topgolf for my girlfriend's birthday this past weekend. I hit a golf ball with a 3-iron, like 210 yards or something like that. So I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah.
Put a driver in my hand. I'll be fine.
Pretty sure that text that he sent was 250, but whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, it's Topgolf, so some drinks were had.
What's some other things about Texas State that you've enjoyed this first year, Chase?
I guess the square. I mean, you gotta.
Hey, there it is.
And then, I mean, I guess just like the hangouts that we have, like we did for Super Bowl, we had a crawfish bowl with the whole team, kind of just hung out as a team, and then we'll get together and play cards here and there. I mean, that's really fun. And then just the bus rides. I've enjoyed the bus rides. I mean, just being with the team, being on a bus for 8 hours. I mean, you learn a lot about people.
It's a long bus ride.
Yeah.
When we talked to Coach Trout at the beginning of the season, just kind of preempting the whole season, basically talking about all the new guys coming up. The thing that he was talking about is how mentally tough this team was. And that's something like a lot of coaches will talk about. Like, in the toughest moments, we're always going to be there, stuff like that. It wasn't until I think, I can't remember which game it was. I think it was the Arkansas State series where Ben McClain stole home and a bunch of wild stuff happened in that entire series. But I was like, this team can literally come back from losing the entire game to being that team, time and time again. So can you talk about that aspect? Like, kind of what goes into that or.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the fall, I think they'd done it last year, but this was my first year doing it, is getting big into like the mental game with Brian Kane. He came in the fall and talked to us and like took us through some things and just like really like gave us little things that meant a lot, like confidence is a choice, or like one of our big things, as we say, is good. No matter what happens, it don't matter if it's bad or anything, it's always good. Just move on. And then you have great mental training. So like if you make an error in the infield, we always joke around great mental training. And it kind of just like puts us back in that mindset of like, oh yeah, Brian Kane and all that. And then like just helps us move on to that next pitch or that next play that we might have. So, I mean, with him helping us out, I think it's really taking the mental game to the next level. And like you were saying, in those situations where we're down 4 or 5 in the 9th inning, and that's really when it shows up, is like we know we're never out of a game. If there's one strike left, we have a chance of winning that ball game.
It's good for you. For the fans, it gives me freaking anxiety. So I'm glad you guys are feeling loose.
The cardiac cats, man. Yeah, for sure. I'm on the edge of my seat. It's great TV for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, well, hold on. It's great TV if you catch the last inning. If you're watching the entire game, I'm throwing beer cans at the TV screaming. Like, come on, dude. What are you talking about?
Wow, Richie Rich. You get ESPN Plus on your TV? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Got to be locked in, dude. No, it's just like, it's not, you're always going to hear players, oh, yeah, we're down to our last out. We're never out of it. Da, 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 da. But as like a fan, like, I love the Cats. There's been plenty of times where I'm like, are you serious right now? What do you mean? Like, how are you going to watch that third strike?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to be honest. Like, that's just kind of how it is. So I'm glad you guys have the confidence when
Wow.
I'm kind of quiver sometimes. I get a little nervous.
Well, what do they say? Like a cat has 9 lives or something. That's how I felt watching these teams. I'm like, I don't know how they're still playing. Like they're so good still. Like it's like nothing has happened or whatever at bat has passed or whatever error has been made on the field. Like it doesn't matter. Y'all are still in, and you still have won games that I've been like, there's no way they're out. I've been
Well,
watching.
when Chase is hitting 4 home runs in a game, it helps.
That's
you
fair.
know?
That's also fair. Yeah. So, what are you guys feeling for this immediate game against Louisiana? You got to face them pretty recently. What were some takeaways when you guys got to see them at home? And how are you guys going to try and apply it? The first game.
So I mean, I also like off the ropes. It's like a revenge game. Like we're not going to let a team beat us 4 times in a row. So I mean, that's always the chip on our shoulder. And then just going in, we know they like to run a lot, so we had to brush up on some of our first and third plays and all that bunt defense. And then they're a big bunting team. They love to bunt. And then just really eliminating the walks that we give up and don't give them the extra run or the extra man on base to score or anything. And then just shut down the running game is the big thing with them. They love to run.
Yeah, they almost play like a softball team. They bunt all the time and they play like 3 steps off the bag. They used to.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another good text I got this week, Chase. He's asking me, so what's up with these guys swinging the bat and running, talking about softball? It's the first softball game Jacob's watched his entire freaking life. Asking me softball questions.
That was something I figured out that I covered the volleyball team, women's basketball, and Zimmel covered everything. So I had no idea about softball.
Come on, dude. Come on, lock in, bro.
Tennis. My cousin was the tennis team reporter. I didn't even know we had that at the Star until he showed up. That was crazy.
Yeah.
The tennis players didn't know we had a tennis team either.
They just got a transfer from Tennessee, actually. So
we had a transfer from the UK. Much better over there either. Got Wimbledon and everything else, and it's just like you can't, win a tournament. You can't do anything. So yeah, no, the tennis program has been a bane of my existence for decades.
Jesus Christ.
Win some shit and then come on the podcast and talk about it. That's the only job you have. Win, talk about it.
Well, so far we've been pretty good at the teams that we interview ahead of the season and in the middle towards the end of the season. So, maybe we just need to do that next season.
Well, we talked to Jessica and shit fell apart. So hopefully, Chase, you guys need to be locked down because this was Jacob's idea. I said, are you sure we're not going to jinx him? And he goes, no. Chase hits a home run every third at bat. Like, he'll be fine.
Luck is for losers. Luck is for losers and Jedi,
See? You can do it. I call it luck. In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
How superstitious are you, Chase?
Very.
Damn.
There it is.
Sorry, Chase.
There it is. What's your favorite ritual?
I mean, I have a lot. I mean, it just depends. I take something from one game to the next. So I mean, it's always switching, but there's always like certain things.
Because if something works, like, hey, I touched the bat 3 times in my left heel and I hit a home run, I'm gonna do it again because maybe it'll work again. I'm the same way. I totally get it. I do the same thing with my broadcast. I gotta have the G2 black pens. I gotta have all this different stuff. And then if something goes wrong, we throw those pens away.
Yeah. That's the same thing I have with batting gloves. If they don't work, I throw them away.
These are expensive pens that I use, so I can't just afford to throw away $7 pens.
Hey, man. Richie Rich over here, bro. You got to get on that North Dakota lifestyle. Quality life, dirt cheap, works out good for me.
Well, Chase, I would be totally blowing this interview if I didn't ask about your deal with Elite Sports. They call you Hillbilly, right? You have a whole deal with them.
Yes.
That's cool. So where can people find all your stuff?
I think it's just Chase Mora. Let me check.
Chase.
Yes,
we'll hold your hand here. We'll carry you along how to promote your product, buddy. You gotta have that Instagram handle down. Gotta just continue to plug it, man.
Yeah.
That's been fun, man. It's been fun watching you and the team gel together, and then you just coming into your own as a player, doing your thing, man. So super excited to see you starting tomorrow night at the Riverwalk, I guess, of Alabama.
Yes.
Didn't know Alabama had a Riverwalk. So thanks for joining us, Chase.
Thanks, Chase.
All right. See ya.
I'm excited. I'm nervous. As we said before, the Sun Belt's a really good baseball team, but also I feel like
Conference, yeah.
yeah, baseball, yeah, exactly, program, athletic organization, and they keep adding more good people because ODU is really good at baseball too.
I told you when these teams joined that it was going to be they were really good for the conference. Southern Miss in volleyball is insane. Shout out Brett Favre. But like, look, this game against Louisiana is a really important one. Not only because Chase kind of put it on the record, being like, we're not going to let a team beat us 4 times. Okay, good luck, boys. I'm rooting for you. I'm nervous. I'm very much nervous.
Shirts the next day. Texas State over LSU.
Ooh,
ULL beat
facts.
LSU.
Facts. Yeah, I get it. You did mention something earlier. You said that like it was, could we have talked to this person, that person? It was a no-brainer. If you've listened to the podcast before, you know that Chase Mora is Jacob's favorite Texas State athlete. I don't think there's another athlete that he texts me more about than Chase Mora. So this was a great interview for us to have. I really enjoyed talking to him. I think next year it's going to be an even better interview because I think that he was a little nervous behind the mic. But hey, that's fine. A little bit by little bit, and he doesn't need to be good in front of the mic. He needs to be good at the batter's box, and he is. He's pretty damn good.
Something interesting too is usually, like at the very big schools, usually media members are not allowed to talk to freshman athletes. There's like basically an entire course that student athletes go through, how to deal with media, how to talk to proper media channels, all that stuff. That doesn't really exist at Texas State. It's kind of the honor system, and we just try not to step on SID's toes very much. So I'd talk to the SID, set up the interview. Don't DM players behind their backs, stuff like that. So we just try and play clean on this show. And so we set up this interview, and obviously wanted to talk to Chase, so worked out.
Obviously. That kid is incredible, and he's only going to get better. So I'm really happy. And he's going to
2 at bats, 3 home runs in between all of that.
He's gonna pitch next year too. That's what's going to be wild. Is that he said he wants to close games, but I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know how you get somebody that's plays second base for 8 innings and then say, okay, jump on the hill and throw, close this game out. I don't know how that works. I'll be curious to see how Trout makes that work. But you got to have his bat in the lineup. You can't not have his bat. So I'm excited for him, and it adds a little wrinkle to next year's team. And look, you're already looking forward to next year when this year you got Omaha on the horizon. Hopefully,
he's a really good second baseman too. Yeah, he's just a great, honestly, I want to say utility player, but it's more like a Swiss Army knife, or insert whatever brand you like better. What is it, Leatherman, or whatever, Gerber tools? Shout out Bear Grylls, but he's just like an insane baseball player. So much talent, and he's so young. If only we were that talented, Zimmel, we'd be getting paid a lot more money than what
Are you kidding me? What he does in the batter's box, I do behind the microphone. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're both superstitious. Neither one of us plays golf. I mean, it feels like we're like the same person. Yeah, me and Chase. I don't know about you. What are you talking about?
I don't know about you. I was going to tell you, who also is very good at golf? DJ Khaled.
Let's go golfing. Let's go golfing. Let's go golfing. Let's go golfing.
So, the golf ball game is very hard. Some people pick it up quicker than others. Sometimes one of the best producers in the world.
I'll take me and my team of the freshman Sunbelt Player of the Year, and you and your team of the fat DJ. And, I feel pretty happy with Chase on my side.
Let's do a San Marcos scramble. It'll be you and me as team captains opposing, right? And we're going for a score on the 18-hole course. Uh-huh. And so I'll pick, I guess you and Chase are already a team, it sounds like. So I'll pick up Dalen Pena for the South Texas connection. Do you want to draft the next player?
We got to do this on a later podcast. I need to look, especially considering me and Chase don't play golf, so we're already like we're real far down.
If I had to bet money, I feel like Dalen has picked up a golf club, so that just feels like a good pick for me. But yeah, to be continued.
Okay. TBD. All right.
Good luck, boys. Cardiac Cats live tomorrow at Alabama's Riverwalk. And yes, that is a thing. Look it up.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.